And we're back. The four compadres are here. And we've got another show for you that we're going to be talking about the film industry. And we have a special topic now. If you've seen Suicide Squad, you're going to know what we're talking about. If you haven't, and you don't want spoilers, you may not want to watch this yet, get out and see the film. It's worth it. Okay? And we're going to be talking about the new Joker, okay?
Yes.
And with our guests here, we got Valerie.
Hi. How you doing,
and
guys?
Ryan.
Ryan.
Now, you were talking earlier about this. See, we got to get Ryan talking more. So
we're definitely going to get
So
him
write in on the notes below this and tell Ryan to talk more, okay?
We get to have a really interesting insight about Jared Leto. You you told how you said that Jared Leto actually made a really good presentation. I still think that Heath Ledger made a better job, only because he was more silly, had a twisted, dark sense of humor, and Jared Leto, it didn't really meet my expectations because of how he seemed to be more compassionate to Harley Quinn. And as far as I know, in the comics, Joker is actually very emotionally abusive to Harley Quinn, especially even before she became Harley Quinn, when she was Dr. Quinzel. So when I see this Joker be more like charming and kind of in a twisted way, you know, like it doesn't really fit the Joker that I know, that would trick you into thinking that he was gonna make a joke with you and then slap the pencil inside your eye. So that's I guess the expectation. I was expecting him to be more emotionally abusive to Harley Quinn, instead of being so playful with her, like, I'm your friend, you know, like we have this weird child.
Well, the thing is that the Joker has such a range of characters, because I've seen all the Jokers all the way back to the original Batman series, and yeah, he was always clowning around, but there was a sinister side he's obviously very self-centered, and I think from that point of view, he wants to be with Harley for that reason. He's self-centered, and he sees what she's becoming, and she's becoming as bad as he is, and he likes that, and he wants to partner. And from that point of view, I think he's fine. We also have been told that they cut a lot of his scenes out of the movie. Yeah, actually,
there were some deleted scenes that actually match more with the cartoon show of the Batman, talking about where Joker was in the asylum, and Dr. Quinzel, thought that she was actually curing him, but she was actually becoming like him. So yes, I did see some of the deleted scenes on YouTube. You can actually, we can put some links down below, but they did cut out a lot of what Joker could have become. And I guess before I watched the movie, I actually for some reason I thought the Joker was going to be a part of the Suicide Squad. He's not. He is completely out of that, and constantly allowing Harley Quinn to be a part of that, because, well, he has no choice. She has that injection, it's like a microchip that if she disobeys the government, she gets killed right on her spot. So I think it's interesting, Batman was able to capture Harley Quinn, but he wasn't able to capture Joker. So that's why she's part of the Suicide Squad, but he's not. But they portrayed Jared Leto as the one in the poster. They're like, oh, well, expect to see Jared Leto, the new Joker, and then you see he's not even a part of the squad. So it's kind of misleading, you know?
Well, I mean, they obviously ended it with the plans of doing another film.
Yes.
And he may eventually become part of that. The Joker has always been unstable. And they wanted the Suicide Squad, I think, to be a little bit more stable, so they could depend on him a little bit more, because they have to go save the world, from their point of view.
Well, except Deathshot, I think he's the only one that's not really that crazy, but yeah.
You know, I was more worried about seeing Will Smith in his role, because I've seen him in so many other roles. To see him play the bad guy in this,
yeah, he's a bad guy with a weakness. He's a good father to his daughter, and which is rare for villains to be a good parent. I mean, Diablo pretty much killed his kids, and I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but you know, it's still like Deathshot by far actually makes a really good parent example, regardless of his assassination, man's lifestyle.
Well, the thing was, I enjoyed the film, and I enjoyed seeing the villains do such a good job. I mean, I've always been a fan of villains helping people out. I've been a fan of Hellboy forever. I would love to figure out a way to...
Have you dressed up like Hellboy before?
No, I haven't, but I have friends who do.
I can see that.
And that's a good idea. I might look into that. But
Ryan, I wanted to hear what you thought about Jared Leto. Did you think he was a good fit?
He was fine. I mean, I don't think they false advertise in any kind of way. I think because Joker is always a loner anyway.
Yeah,
so like I mean, if you thought he was gonna be in the Suicide Squad, I've never read a DC comic storyline where he saves anyone but Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So for me, it made sense for him to save her. And also people saying it's bad or whatever, I thought was just fine. I mean, people forget that Marvel just came out with a movie that was just as choppy, and that was X-Men Apocalypse. So like, to me,
that's true.
Trying to fit everything into it, it just it fit. I mean, I don't know why everybody had a problem with the Joker. He wasn't even the main character; he was a supporting character.
Well, I guess that's what people were. I noticed that Rotten Tomatoes did not give it a good score because they were expecting more out of Jared Leto. They were expecting more out of Joker being in the movie. He wasn't in that many scenes. They did give a small origin story between him and Dr. Quinzel, but the only other time that you see Joker is when Harley Quinn gets text messages from him saying like, just wait for me, boo, and okay, Puddin', like, it's just, there's not much of a, like him making all these plans behind the scenes to rescue her. There's not much of a story into the squad. He's always behind the scenes, and then finally when they all get attacked, she jumps onto the helicopter on that building, and then the helicopter gets shut down, where people think, well, maybe he got killed, and then she's like, well, I'm back, I lost my pudding, so I'm back in the squad. Well, it's like
well, I think if the fans or Rotten Tomatoes thought that he was going to be a part of it, that's on the fans. I mean,
yeah.
I don't remember Warner Brothers ever coming out and saying Jared Leto is going to be the biggest part of this movie. I think a lot of times as fans, we go in there with expectations of, I need to see this, I need to see that.
They may have emphasized it though, like because of the poster, how it was Jared Leto's Joker poster, then Harley Quinn's poster, and then at one point they did have the Bat mask as well, but they had it in a very weird, twisted way. So people thought it all. I mean, Ben Affleck was in the movie in certain scenes, and people even thought that there was not much of a point of him being in it, regardless of the origin stories.
Well, the point of him being in it was him getting that information from Amanda Waller, and him saying, "You shut your team down on my friends." Well,
that's another thing. Amanda Waller was awesome.
Yeah, that was the point of it. But I mean, I still feel like when you go in there with expectations, that's just your fault. I mean, this is the thing. They also, Civil War, if you look at some of those posters, they had Hawkeye in there. They had Spider-Man in there. Spider-Man was in 10 minutes of the movie for the most part.
Well, but that's because they were trying to hint that Spider-Man's coming out with a new movie, which is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, but they're also hinting that Joker's going to be in the new DC universe. Because we all know that Ben Affleck's already signed on to do a solo Batman movie, which means the Joker could be in there.
Okay, what about Batman vs. Superman? Have you remember that in the movie, Wonder Woman was not really that much in the movie until the last scene where she actually comes out with her new uniform and everything, and that was towards hinting to the fans, hey, we're making a Wonder Woman movie. And then I recently saw the trailer, and I think
the problem is
awesome.
with DC is they can't do a full Justice League. They don't own everybody, so they got to do all these little pieces, and so they're doing these little teasers to let you see what they're going to look like. It was nice in Civil War to see what our new Spider-Man's going to look like.
Right.
And I've seen him on set, and he looks great.
But even in Batman vs. Superman, Aquaman, I saw him briefly. He looked good. The Flash, though, he doesn't do me justice because he doesn't look like the guy from the CW69 Flash. They look completely different. And I don't even know how they're gonna go with that.
Well, DC's already come out and said the TV universe doesn't matter. They want you to forget about that.
Well, I guess fans keep forgetting that, though.
Oh yeah, and once again, that's on the fans. I was a victim of that too until I realized DC is playing catch up, and that's just what they have to do. And which is nothing wrong with it. I mean, because at the end of the day, they're doing what they have to do. But they've already set their TV universe up. Like they're having like a 4-part special with Supergirl. They've already have a TV Superman that looks nothing like Henry Cavill.
You see Superman in Supergirl's CBS show, but you don't actually see his face. And there's an episode where she goes like not back in time, but she like gets lost in her memories, and she sees Clark as a kid. So the only time you actually see Superman is as a child. You never really see his face.
Well, it's obvious that between Marvel and DC that all this is really hitting the audiences right now. We're even getting a new Batman comic with the original actors' voices. So, I mean, everybody's really into this stuff. So it's a good time for all of us to be able to watch all this.
I think the point of it is to lower our expectations. So once we get there, and if they're better than we expected, then we can actually be happy.
Yeah, I mean, you should go into this thing. You should go into every comic book movie like it's a blind date. Your friend might say, "Hey, she's the hottest thing ever," but you're like, I'm gonna go in there with she might look like a man. That's just the way.
I'll give it a 5, and if it goes up to a 10, then you're good.
Absolutely. So.
Well, I've been entertained and I've enjoyed him, so I keep wishing him luck. And
yeah, he's twisted and charming. We'll go with that.
Okay, well, thank you again for watching this episode, and if you have any opinions, leave them on our comment lines there when you're watching this video. So, till next time.